Hey folks, so this video is the first in a series that I'm going to be calling Fresh Account Leveling. So this is something that I put in a poll recently on my YouTube channel. It's something I've been asked to do by many people for quite a while, and I think it's important for the purposes of my leveling guides. Now, what I'll be doing, as the name implies, is leveling up from 1 to 60 multiple times in multiple videos to test out the route for brand new players. So I won't have any heirlooms, I won't have any consumables, but most importantly, I will not have access to Chromie Time. Now I do want to quickly say that the Chromie Time part of it is the only thing that actually matters. A lot of people think that having heirlooms, having special consumables makes a difference in terms of the routing. It does not. It really doesn't. I can't stress this enough. Having gun shoes just makes you travel from point A to point B slightly faster. Having heirlooms makes you kill mobs slightly faster. They don't actually change the zones that you do. If you have access to Chromie Time, and you have all of the heirlooms, or none of the heirlooms, or all the consumables, none of the consumables, you'll be doing the exact same route. The zones that are fast are still the ones that are fast. What's interesting is when you don't have access to Chromie Time, you can't actually follow my route, because it requires you to do Cata Revamp zones and WAD zones all the way from 10 to 60. And new players will be capped at level 30 for Cata Revamp zones, and capped at level 40 for WAD zones. So the interesting thing here is honestly just the process from 40 to 60, because, well, that's where you get to do different zones like Legion, BFA, Shadowlands, etc. Now, I will not actually be doing that within this particular run. I will be doing, probably within the next few weeks, a series of 1 to 60 runs, full, unedited, 1 to 60 runs, maybe light editing, because I don't really know how much I can fit in. But the reason that I'm doing a voiceover recording for this one, and as you can see, the runtime isn't extremely long, is because I was not intending to start the series with this particular video. What you'll see in the footage right now that I have playing is me leveling through Silverpine Forest with my sister. So I was initially going to create this account in a week or so, but I had to create it early and, buy a subscription for it. So I guess maybe I can write off the subscription as a business expense or something. But my sister wanted to try World of Warcraft, and I was like, all right, well, I already need to create a fresh new account and test out all this leveling stuff, so I might as well test my first character leveling with her. And then I realized that there was this really cool idea I could do for a challenge run, which is the video you're going to watch here, and I had a limited time to do it, and it required a fresh account. So I took the character that I had already partially leveled with my sister, and I leveled it up to get the challenge run done. And that challenge run is on a brand new account. I was going to try and win the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza. This account has less than 24 hours playtime. It is my very first character ever on this account. No heirlooms, no special fishing equipment, literally nothing. Could I get this character up to a certain level, train fishing, and win the tournament using the strategy that I recently outlined in my How to Win the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza video? And that was the entire goal for this particular run. So obviously I'm not going to play the 5 or so hours that I sat around teaching basic World of Warcraft stuff to my sister. That is what got me from levels 1 to 20. I am going to play one particular clip from that later on in the run, because there was just this really funny, absolutely wild moment that happened. So you'll see if you keep watching. I will include some footage of me leveling with my sister. But basically, 10 to 20, or well, 1 to 20, I just leveled through the basic stuff. Introduction zone, Silverpine Forest with my sister, and I will give you a spoiler for all future 1 to 60 runs. Everything up to level 40 is not as interesting as you may think. A lot of people think there's going to be some special routing. Quite literally, in my actual world record runs, I do not use Chromie Time from levels 1 to 40. I turn off Chromie Time from 1 to 30, so I get less competition in Silverpine and Hillsrad. And then from 1 to 40, for a decent chunk of it, I turn off Chromie Time for Warlords of Draenor. Because Gorgrons, you have way less competition, way less risk of being ganked if you're not in Chromie Time. So you can do my exact routing in my leveling guide from levels 1 to 40, and that is exactly what I will be doing in the runs in the future, and it's what I did for this. So I won't be including a lot of that footage in this particular video. It is just Silverpine Forest, Hillsrad Foothills. I didn't record Hillsbred Foothills just because it was like 3 hours of me watching Netflix on a second monitor while I mindlessly leveled my character through the exact same stuff that you've seen a million times. But I started recording from levels, I believe, 32 to 40, showcasing the WoD side of things and how much you can do there, and obviously explaining some of the stuff I'm doing here. The reason why I figured I'd give this introduction at the beginning is because I was a little bit scatterbrained when I initially recorded this. It took me probably like 30 minutes to actually discuss the initial point of the run, that being the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza thing, and I ended up rambling about other nonsense. So I figured it was important to at least give a short 5-minute summary of what I'm going to be doing with the series going forward and what this specific run is. So I think I have thoroughly established that. You're going to be watching a 32 to 40 segment of a leveling run. Then you are going to watch me try to win the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza at level 40 on a completely fresh account. And going forward, I'm going to be doing additional leveling runs that are full, mostly unedited 1 to 60 runs. And I guess if you want to see Horde or Alliance first, leave a comment, let me know, because that is the only thing I haven't decided on. I will do both of them eventually, but there might be like a gap in the middle, so if you want to see one before the other, leave a comment like, I'd love to see a Horde or Alliance run first, or something like that. That's the only thing that I'm still undecided on. But anyways, future Haraldin, I think I've pretty much said my piece, so I will cut back to past Haraldin, and then I will figure out a way to edit this monstrosity of a leveling run together in a way that is somewhat watchable. So, for context, just to show that it is a fresh account, I have absolutely no heirlooms. This is obviously not my regular account. What I've done is I've created a new account to test leveling without Chromie time, basically for brand new players, see how it is, and while people always ask me to do runs with basically fuck all for gear, and let me tell you, this is tough. I actually just got done with Hillsbred Foothills, and I soloed Yetimus with this gear, and it was the hardest Yetimus fight I've ever fucking done. At least the hardest Yetimus fight that I've actually successfully won. Because sometimes Yetimus just kicks your ass. I actually managed to win that fight, which was fucking wild. Actually really fun. Gives me a lot of hope for this challenge mode run that I have planned in the future. I've discussed it in the past. So, you know, if you've been following along, you probably know that I am planning a challenge run series. This is not the challenge run series. This is just something else. But the challenge runs are going to be very, very interesting. That is for sure. And Yetimus is going to play into it. So the fact that I got to give him a test run in really shitty gear is really good. It bodes well for the future of the challenge run, the fact that I was able to do that. And if you think you know what the challenge run is, let me tell you, you don't. It is not even close. It's going to involve Yetimus, and I've already mentioned that on my Discord. The only thing that I've officially confirmed is that it involves multiple open world elites. That is one very small component of the challenge run format, and Yetimus will feature in there, because I mean he's a staple of the leveling runs at this point. Yetimus is like the classic challenge of the actual speedrun route, so it wouldn't really be a challenge run if he wasn't featured. But anyway, managed to just kill him. I went ahead and, using a bare minimum amount of gold, bought some stuff in the auction house. Obviously, even though this is a fresh account, I can still mail stuff over, so for the purposes of this character, which was not meant to be a, you know, test 1 to whatever run, I mailed myself over about 15,000 gold. I've bought like basic riding, some consumables like Goblin Glider Kit, gun shoes, etc. And it's really good when you don't have heirlooms to buy basic greens off the AH. Each one of these was like literally 5 gold. Some of them were genuinely 1 gold. And it is a massive power spike going from an item that has like 2 secondary stats to one that has, what is this, 18 or something like that. So when you hit level 30, I would say it is absolutely worth buying a green item in every single slot, except trinkets. Trinkets, obviously, this is something I buy for speedruns, but if you've ever looked at low-level trinket prices in the auction house, you'll know they are incredibly expensive. And yeah, I'm not going to invest that kind of money, because I'm still trying to get an accurate feel for what it would be like. Obviously, I have all this gold, and I mean, I could buy a bunch of fancy stuff, but I'm not going to. Normally, I wouldn't even have all this stuff. I probably wouldn't even waste money on gun shoes. Literally, gun shoes don't change anything. This is something that a lot of people have like a misconception of. They're like, oh, do a run without any gun shoes. And they're like, ha ha ha, I've got hurled in now. What's he gonna do? He clearly can't live without his gun shoes. And it's like, people don't realize that it literally does not matter. Oh, where the fuck do I get the mounts? Windride. Oh, I can't ride Wind Riders? Oh, wait, what the? Okay, that's weird. Um, I guess I buy the fast one. Red Wind Rider. Cool. Buy this one. And throw this on my bars over here. Yeah, so a lot of people think that it's like this big gotcha when they're like, ha, now do it without any fancy speed leveling items. Like, what are you going to do without your gun shoes? Your route won't work anymore. Like, bitch, do you think I need a minor increase to my movement speed to make a leveling route work? Like, obviously, it's nice to have. I'm not going to say I don't want gun shoes. How do I collect the trader's tender from the collector's cache? Apparently, I can't do that. But obviously, like, gun shoes are not necessary. Goblin gliders also aren't necessary, but admittedly, every single player should buy Goblin Gliders very early on because they are actually dirt cheap. So getting like 5 Goblin Gliders to help out with the leveling process is like very, very, very helpful because genuinely, why would you not? But gun shoes are a bit more expensive, but they literally just speed up your travel time from point A to point B. You do not need them at all. I'm literally just doing it because, once again, why wouldn't I? Why not? This doesn't take me to Outland, right? Yeah, this takes me to Khadgar. So one thing you'll also notice is that I'm not leveling through BFA. This is a major misconception, and it's something that I am going to dispel with this series. You'll very quickly realize that BFA is not only not required, but it is very, very slow. Because something that I think a lot of people just haven't really considered is that my actual speedrun route doesn't use chromie time for like literally half of it. So all the way up until level 40, for the most part, with some minor exceptions, I basically never enter chromie time. In fact, I actively go out of my way to turn it off because you don't want to be in chromie time because it gives you more competition with other people. So like, literally my route doesn't change. So like I said before, I was going through Hillsbrad. I ended Hillsbrad a bit early because I obviously hit level 31, almost 32. One of the things, though, is technically speaking, even though the scaling ends at level 30, you can still go up to like 31, 32, because the scaling really isn't that bad until you hit level 32. At that point, yeah, you should absolutely leave Hillsbrad and Silverpine, but you can get like most of those two zones done by the time the scaling really turns bad. And they are still very good zones. You don't need chromie time to make them efficient. You know, they don't even need rare mobs and whatever. For some context, because I mentioned that this wasn't originally planned, the reason why we're getting this run out of nowhere and the reason why I'm jumping into it halfway through is because I actually started playing with my sister. So my sister was I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not my place to talk about like shit that my sister's going through, right? But she was not in good mood, or let's say she was upset about something, and I was like, hey, whenever I'm upset, something I like to do is play video games, right? It's a good coping mechanism. So I'm like, why don't you try WoW for the first time? Well, actually, not the first time. She technically tried it years ago because my dad got me into WoW a very long time ago when I was 5 years old. And obviously, I think he tried to get my sister into it at the time, and she wasn't interested. And then over the years, both my dad and me have tried to once again convince my sister to play, and she's like gotten up to level 10 in like previous expansions. But I talked her into it, and she was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was leveling with her, and unfortunately, I did kind of. I wouldn't say ditch her to level this character, because obviously I still have a shit ton of leveling testing to do, so what I'm going to do is later on level up a completely separate character and just get it caught up to the point where we were at. Yeah, that's a marginal upgrade. Nice. Alright. And I'll just use gun shoes here, because, like, I have it. Why not? This isn't, meant to be a fresh testing run. But Yeah, so I was leveling with my sister, and honestly, using my regular speed leveling route, even for somebody like my sister who is brand new to WoW, she picked up on it really quickly. Obviously, it helps that I was there to explain a lot of the stuff, right? But, like, I was explaining everything, she was like, yeah, no, makes sense. And it was relatively effective. There was a weird bug, which I don't know. I'll have to include the footage of it somewhere. My sister managed to, on her first time, quote unquote, first time, but like first real time playing WoW, managed to encounter a bug so bad that I have literally never seen it ever. And I went to Google it because I'm like, okay, this is such a fucked up bug. There's no way that nobody has encountered this. Nobody has encountered it. I cannot find a single forum post even resembling the bug my sister encountered. I'll describe it here just so you know like how fucking wacky it is. Somehow, random invisible walls, kind of invisible walls, were spawning around Gilneas when my sister and I were questing through there, and she was unable to pass through the walls. And like on my screen, she was basically just walking in place and like rubber banding back and forth. But on her screen, she was literally running up against a like semi-transparent blue barrier that was just floating. But it actually had like a tangible shape, because then what later on happened is there was another blue invisible wall like covering the floor. And my sister was able to walk across it, and on my screen, she's literally effectively fly hacking through the air because I can't see this big invisible blue thing, but on my sister's screen, she's just walking across this like bugged invisible wall, just floating there, and she's able to like mount up on it. So I have no idea what caused that. I'm going to have to find a way to use that footage somewhere. I'll sneak it into like a speed run for fun. Probably not this one because I don't really have time to do a shit ton of editing. And this one has its own kind of purpose, right? Which I will discuss later on. I know, how long are we into the video? Already 10 minutes, and I haven't discussed exactly what I plan on doing. But, yeah, we'll get there, right? But yeah, it was absolutely wild. I've never seen a bug like that before, and it's one of those things where, like, literally, if I was able to replicate that, like, if I could figure out how to intentionally cause that bug, it would quite literally give you a way of fly hacking. Semi-fly hacking. I obviously don't know the extent of that. Absolutely wild bug. I do not know how it happened. So we lost a bit of time because of that, because there were literal quest objectives where the big one, and this is one of the reasons why I need to get the footage of it. I was so proud of myself. The telescope in Gilneas. So if you know, you have to go into Gilneas City and you have to fight the like Alliance troops there, then you pick up like their war orders, and then there's a telescope, and you have to interact with the telescope, and it like plays a little bit of an unskippable cutscene that shows you the Alliance fleet, and then you're done, and you go and turn in the quest and stuff. Well, for whatever reason, these blue like semi-transparent walls were completely surrounding the telescope. And it wasn't like entirely like 100 degree or 360 degrees, whatever. It was blocking the entrance from the Gilneas city side. But I noticed on my sister's screen, because she was obviously trying to get in, she's like, I can't, it's blocked off. And I noticed that the extent of the blue invisible wall things did not go all the way to the back area where, you know, the river was. And obviously, you know, it's like, how are you going to access that? I also, at the time, we didn't have any of the fancy gadgets. I bought this after the fact, right? So I'm like, how the fuck is my sister going to interact with this telescope? And for a second, I'm like, well, I guess we're soft locked. We can't progress this quest because she literally cannot click on it. And then I managed to find, just completely organically, while dicking around trying to see what I could manage to get this quest working, I managed to find a wall clip spot around the telescope where you could jump into like this little ledge and basically hop up the wall, climb around this little ledge along the outside right above the water, and sneak past the blue wall to get to the telescope. And goddamn, I was proud of that. And then once I figured that out, and I did it on my computer, and I'm like, okay, this is possible, then I had to teach it to my sister. And mind you, I couldn't just like go over to her computer and, you know, basically do it for her, because she was playing from a different country, right? She was on a vacation. So she's on vacation, we're playing like remotely, and this is, I think, part of the reason why the bug was happening is probably like shitty, Europe Wi-Fi, whatever. But I had to basically walk her through step by step, teaching a brand new player at the game how to wall clip up the terrain so that she could get around it. But she figured it out, and we actually progressed through it. And then we stopped towards the end of Gilneas because it was like 4 a.m. or something. But honestly, it was like one of the most fun experiences I had leveling. And not only did it prove that my theory was entirely correct, right? About the fact that this is a legitimate way to level for new players. You don't need Chromie time. But it was also just this crazy, weird, organic experience where it was like I had a Mythic Plus affix of just like these random blue invisible walls that I couldn't see, but, my party member could see. And I had to navigate my party member through these invisible blue walls. Fucking wild. Honestly, like, if I could find a way to replicate that, imagine like World of Warcraft, but there's random invisible walls blocking off quest objectives. Alright, so, I know I said just a few minutes ago that I wasn't going to include the footage in this video, but at the time, I kind of expected that I wouldn't be doing any editing for this, and then I think somewhere around the 5-hour mark, I decided, you know what, I actually do need to edit some of this, because there's just a lot of downtime where later on I was doing nothing but fishing. So it's kind of that thing where once the cat's out of the bag, once I have to do some editing, I might as well do a lot of editing, because the time difference there doesn't really matter. So this is basically when it happened in Gilneas. I'm going to let some of the footage play, and I will try to keep future Haraldin commentary to a minimum. I will only pop in when maybe something that's difficult to explain happens, and I need to comment on it. Just run all the way.
It's blue again. Roll me through.
Oh. I think it's just your...
Do you see it?
No, it's just rubber banding, I think.
Me a stroke. Oh my god. It's flashing blue and I can't go past it. Oh no.
It has to just be lag, like your character's just bugged out. What in the world?
That's weird, I can go around it.
What
it's
the
fuck?
Fuck?
It lets it go around it. It's gone now.
That is, because I saw your character, like, that is weird. Because at first I thought you were just
running in place.
Yeah, well, no, because you were running in place and getting rubber banded back, but then the moment you walked around, and it looked like you just turned a corner of something that just didn't exist, and then suddenly I don't, that is wild. I've never seen that. No idea what would cause that. Oh, what the fuck? How did we... Somehow we pulled mobs from the street down there.
Oh, there's another blue. Oh my god, the whole ground is blue. And it's flashing like crazy.
What in the world? You're like floating above the ground. What in the fuck? How? Shit.
I can't
How the fuck are you floating? What the fuck?
Platform.
Hold on. Oh, this is such a weird bug.
Get me off. Every time I take a point at the edge of the platform just extends out even further.
Okay, I need you to share your screen. What in the world? A coward! What the fuck? How is...
Go.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I healed you.
Thank you.
This is... Okay, try to see if you can move away from the road, because you're right in the middle of endlessly spawning elite mobs, and this is difficult. What the actual fuck? I've never seen this before.
I can't go down there. Yeah, it just turns blue every time I try to go past that.
What the actual fuck is this memory leak? This is some next level shit. What the fuck? Okay, just try to cross the road, even if the blue thing doesn't let you. I don't understand.
This
What?
never happened to you?
No! I've never heard this happening to anyone. I'm recording this I proof it exists now. I don't know what the fuck this is.
Oh no, it's raised up. I can't even go up on it.
What the actual fuck is that? Hold on, I'm gonna Google this.
Oh, I went through.
Warcraft
Oh, I can go through it now.
blue wall. Literally do not how? What the fuck? There's not how is there nothing online about this?
Really?
There's nobody else is. What the fuck? I can't even find a forum post saying they encountered this. Alright, so Future Harlden is chiming back in here. So, as you can see, obviously the video quality isn't great because this is not only taken from my sister's computer, which is really bad, but it's a Discord stream of my sister's computer. But she eventually got herself stuck between the invisible wall and this little cliff, so she had to fully restart her game. And then later on, when we were in Gilneas City, this is the thing I mentioned earlier with the telescope, I had stopped watching the stream that she was doing through Discord, and she was just like, all right, if I hit a blue wall, I'll run around it until I can't. And around this point, I realized, oh, the entire telescope is covered by the blue wall. And then I had to think of a solution. So I will cut to that when I figure out how to find the solution around the invisible wall blocking the telescope, which I discussed earlier.
3 o'clock or 2 o'clock or something. So Greg was like, we should get the pizza before they close for the midday thing. So I was like, that's not that big of a deal. I'll just clock into work like 30 minutes late. So I texted my coworker and I was like, hey, I'm just going to be there like a little late. We're just grabbing pizza real quickly. And she didn't say anything. And I was like,
oh, real quick. So
yes.
the blue wall, how far does it extend?
Let me see. It's not over here that I can see.
Okay, try standing right where I am. Run forward and jump against the little ledge like this. Just run and jump and try to land right where I'm at. And then the moment you hit jump, just stop moving. So jump off that little piece of wood. So see how there's this piece of wood? So run, jump, and then the moment you jump, hands off keyboard.
The fuck?
This is really precise. I can't believe I even found this. This is like fucking wild tech. Yeah, you're aiming for basically what you're aiming for. This little very corner of the stone block, try to hit it dead on. Like aim directly for the corner. Because there's like a little I actually complete hunch. Obviously, I've never tried slamming my face into a stone block corner before, but a lot of textures in this game, the very edges have little, like, bugged places where you can stand on it. So if you slam the very edge of this stone block head on, like so.
How the fuck? Oh, I feel like I'm trying to, like, overshoot thinking it's gonna...
No, just... Yeah, you're jumping too late. It's spacebar the moment you step on the wood block. Right now. And then bam, land on it. And the moment I hit spacebar, I stop moving my arrow keys, or WASD. Right? So, run, jump, release. I actually missed that time. Oh, you got it! Okay. Don't move your arrow keys at all. Just jump again. Okay. You'll have to... No, you got it once, honestly. That's already really fucking good. Yeah, so like this, and then jump after you land there. So I'm gonna do it again. I landed, then I jumped while I'm in midair, I moved forward, and I pushed onto the ledge. So that's it.
All I did was press spacebar, that's why.
Yeah, see, no, that's on me. I wasn't entirely sure. Oh, you got it. Okay. Jump, and then while you're in midair, hit the forward key. You got it! Nice! Okay, hold on, let me get back up. This is, for the record, by the way, this is why I said you need to fucking play MMOs. This is not easy fucking parkour wall jumping. This is like some advanced shit that I'm having to do because of the weird blue wall stuff. I did not expect to have to teach you how to fucking wall jump. This is not normal. Okay, so does the blue wall extend over here?
No, I'm good
Okay.
here.
So if we go around like this, the only thing that matters, can you click the telescope?
Yes.
Oh my fucking god, let's go! I can't believe that worked! Holy shit. Okay, so your coworker, the pizza, and you messaged her and said you were going out for pizza. Alright, so I'm gonna cut myself off there, obviously. Back to our regularly scheduled programming of leveling through Warlords of Draenor on a fresh character and then trying to win the fishing extravaganza. I just thought that I should include that somewhere because honestly that was just one of the craziest things I've ever seen happen in this game, and for it to occur while I was leveling with my sister for the first time, it was just too good to not share. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that little detour from the regular leveling run, and now back to my usual rambling as I do the WoD intro. Obviously, you can't do that, right? Like, because you can't modify the game unless the game itself breaks. But that would be such a cool thing if you could mod World of Warcraft to that extent. There would be so many cool possibilities for, like, leveling speedrun concepts, but you can't do that, unfortunately. But goddamn, that experience made me wish that that was a thing I could do. Like altering the terrain, just changing it up. I guess that's the kind of thing that like private servers can do, right? But it's not the same, which is why one thing I know is whenever I unveil my challenge run rule set and the entire thing I have planned for it, a lot of people will probably be like, oh, couldn't you just like do this on a private server or something like that? And it's like, yeah, sure, you could probably code a private server to do something like this, but the point isn't to make a private server to do a fun challenge. The point is to spice up retail World of Warcraft leveling. I'm not doing this, just because I want to have a slightly different experience. That's part of it, but it's more that I want to have a different retail WoW normal leveling experience that makes it more fun for me and other people to level up alts. Because the entire idea, said this before, is that other people would be able to use my challenge run rule set as well. It would ideally, in if I got it done correctly, be an add-on or something that people could download and it would work for their leveling runs as well. Anyways, I'm getting way ahead of myself, and I don't really have any other information that I want to share at this time for that regardless, so I'm not going to keep going into it. I'm just, that's happened, and I was really excited to talk about it because it was like one of the most wild experiences ever. Anyways, so entire thing we're doing here, obviously, this is nothing special. What you're watching right now is just pretty standard WoD intro, and we're going to be doing pretty standard Frostfire Rich into Gorgrond after the fact. Obviously, I need to do this before level 40, because at level 40, the cap for WoD will be reached, and then it'll stop scaling. So I need to do this now. I don't have any other choice. The interesting part of the routing here, which, that's something that I think genuinely would make for an interesting video, is how do you route levels 40 through, because it is 40, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, it caps at 40. So the interesting question that I think a lot of people haven't really keyed into is how do you level through 40 to 60? And because at that point your options are far more limited, and at that point none of my traditional speed leveling options are available, it's hard to say. Because from what I can tell, BFA will be required for at least 5 levels, because if I go over to Shadowlands, you can level... Wait, Shadowlands scales. Hold the phone. I actually did not know this. Shadowlands scales all the way up to level 60. So, that's actually... That gives me some ideas. Because BFA is really not great, right? There are tiny bits and pieces of BFA that you could technically scrounge together to make a not absolutely terrible leveling experience. Like, if you leveled for an extended period of time in BFA, it would not be good. But if you only need to spend, like, 5 levels there, I'm sure that you could find the most efficient parts across all 3 BFA zones and try to string them together into some sort of coherent route that's actually fast. But honestly, if Shadowlands scales, you may not need to. Because as much as I hate Shadowlands leveling, there is like a question of, is Shadowlands actually worse than BFA? And that's honestly something I'm not entirely sure. I would say out of all the zones in Shadowlands and BFA, if we're comparing all of them, the fastest 2 zones by far out of all of those options would have to be Bastion and Ardenweald, with Ardenweald probably being the fastest and Bastion being the second fastest. Now, the problem with that is Maldraxxus is not a fast zone. Maldraxxus is a relatively inefficient zone, and because Threads of Fate is no longer an option, you would have to effectively go all the way through Maldraxxus. And even then, for Bastion, because obviously Bastion you could do in a vacuum, you would still need to do the Ma intro. So technically speaking, the Ma intro, which, mind you, is not good. Ma intro is not like the WoD intro. A lot of people seem to be confused about this. It's not that, like, expansion intros are good. The WoD intro is just kind of freakishly good. The Ma intro is bad. What do I spend this on? Probably, yeah, another point in Tears Enforcer. And then probably Bastion of Light. Then I'm guessing... I mean, Sentinel's good, but I don't think I need it for leveling. I think I would just go Avenging Wrath Might. What was I saying? Right. So I think it's possible that Bastion ends up being efficient, because especially if your only option from levels 45 to 60 is BFA and Shadowlands, which I believe is the case, because Legion caps out at 45. Let's see. Broken Isles. Yeah, Legion caps out at 45. And you would be doing Legion. I will eventually. I'm not going to be doing it in this particular run. This run's going to end at level 40 for reasons I will explain when I'm able to actually get my thoughts together and talk. This says less stats. The fuck? That's weird. Does this also have less stats? 12, 10, 13... 12, 9, 15, 24. Yeah, it has less stats. Wait, what? No shot. I've never had that happen before. No shit. I literally entered the room the moment this guy was dying because this person here killed it, and I immediately got quest credit. Holy shit. I've done so many runs of this fucking game. I've literally never had that happen. I think I've had times where I snuck in right at the very end as they were about to get the killing blow, and then I, like, tagged it, and I always thought, because, like, every single time that happened, I was always like, oh, wow, I barely slid in under the wire, because I'm like, oh, you know, I figure you have to get a tag to actually get credit, but apparently you don't even need to tag the mob. If you're just within proximity, you get credit for the kill. Fucking wild. I don't know how I've literally never encountered that before. Anyways, yeah, so levels 40 to 45, when I eventually do the full runs, will be done in Legion. Because Legion does have zones that are more efficient than BFA and Shadowlands. The only thing I'm not sure of is whether I do High Mountain or Val'sharah. I'm think probably Val'sharah, but you know, that's the problem with only it being like 5 levels. There's, I think, everything but Stormheim, because Stormheim has like a really lengthy introduction process. You could even make an argument for Azuna. If you took like the best bits of Azuna, it would be a decent 5-level experience. And that's what's weird, right? When you only have to take a 5-level snapshot of a zone, a lot of zones will look efficient. The problem is inherently by being forced to swap to Legion, you are losing time. So I know a lot of people, whenever I do this, are going to be like, whoa, why don't you use Val'sharah or Zuna or whatever in your actual leveling runs? That 5 levels seemed really fast. And a lot of people tend to forget that travel time is a factor. So if I can pick one zone that will get me from levels, I don't know, 40 to 55 in a really fast amount of time. But technically speaking, if at level 50 I left for Val'sharah and did Val'sharah, it would be like 2 minutes faster. It's like, yeah, maybe Val'sharah for those 5 levels could be marginally faster. But then how much travel time does it take to get to Val'sharah? Are you able to get to Val'sharah and then, return or whatever in 2 minutes? And in almost all situations, the answer is no, especially Legion, right? Because Legion, none of the zones are directly connected to, like, Dalaran. So there is an inherent, like, flight time. It's a little bit less so if you're level 40, since you can take a flight directly. And I guess, like, Azuna at least has a portal there, so I guess Azuna would be faster, but from everything that I've tested in the past, admittedly, I haven't tested Val'sharah lately. But when I tested it way in the past, that did seem to be the fastest zone, so I'm suspecting that it'll end up being the fastest when I test it again. Val'sharah definitely is a little bit of a flight, and I think the flight alone would be 2 minutes long to get to Val'sharah. It obviously 2 minutes is a number that I made up, right? So it's not like, that's a gospel number to hold it up to. I'm just giving an example, right? And I've always told people, it's entirely possible that I've done my math wrong. The inherent thing with World of Warcraft leveling is that there's so many variables that sometimes it's not possible to make, like, a perfect calculation. Sometimes you have to say, like, both of these look pretty fast, but I'm fairly confident that my routing by doing this is going to be more efficient. Or then you have to also factor in another really important thing is that the old world zones have rare mobs and chests, right? And while I will say, right, you don't need chests or rare mobs to make those zones fast, when I measure those zones for the purposes of, like, the leveling guide against Val'sharah, etc., I'm only measuring the zones themselves. From a speedrunning perspective, it's not even close, because from a speedrunning perspective, you're assuming that you're high rolling on rares and treasure chests, and when you factor in rares and treasure chests, those zones are insane. So the fact that stuff like Silverpine and Hillsbrad are already insanely fast on their own, and then you have a chance to just, like, Omega high roll and get a ton of bonus experience, that's one of the reasons why they are some of the best leveling zones in the entire game. And I think a similar thing can be said for, like, Red Ridge Mountains. Loch Modan is just really fast. So Loch Modan definitely stands on its own 2 legs. But Red Ridge Mountains, I would say, and Duskwood are 2 zones that you could argue there are other zones in different places that are faster, maybe, than Red Ridge Mountains or Loch Modan. But because they are pretty much the same speed and have high roll potential, and they are both very close together and close to Stormwind, I would say the overall travel time factor combined with the high roll factor makes them, on average, a much better leveling experience for Alliance. But there is also a reason why, in my recent dungeon leveling video, I discussed the fact that dungeon leveling is disproportionately advantageous for Alliance compared to Horde, because whereas Silverpine and Hillsbrad are both insanely good zones, Red Ridge Mountains and Duskwood are less insane. So I honestly could make an argument probably that dungeon leveling all the way from levels 10 to 30 is more efficient for Alliance players. In fact, in my world record speedrun, that's kind of what I almost did, not intentionally. And admittedly, I ended up getting weirdly lucky after getting extremely unlucky, so it balanced out a little bit. But the dungeons from levels 20 to 30, while there is a chance that it can be really efficient, there is also a chance that you just low roll hard and get, like, fucking Black Morass or something like that, and that just absolutely kills your time. So there's a give and take when it comes to dungeons. But what was I saying? Yeah, so Val'sharah, probably 40 to 45, and then the last 15 levels, that's what's hard to say. BFA will have to fit in there somewhere, I think, because it's either you go all the way through Ardenweald, which I wouldn't rule out, because Ardenweald is very good. I would say Ardenweald alone may genuinely, which one do I pick? I feel like I pick Incandescence. I feel like I remember hearing that that was a good talent. I could be completely wrong. It's been a little while since I looked at Prop Pally. Honestly, the only reason I'm picking Prop Pally, for the record, where do I go? Oh, I forgot to turn in that quest. Whoops. Yeah, the only reason I'm playing Prop Pally, I mean, Prop Pally's good, right? I enjoy it. But I actually asked my sister to pick. I gave her a few options, and I'm like, what do you think I should play? And she picked Prop Pally. I'm like, okay. I mean, I've already leveled a bunch of Prop Pallies, but I gave her the option, and she picked it. So I was like, fuck it, why not? And I don't have a regular Tauren. Actually, I mean, I guess you can't be a High Mountain Tauren Paladin. So I don't have a Tauren Paladin, which, you know, is cool, I suppose. I finally got to level 1. What else, though? What else? Trying to think. Yeah, I think Ardenwield's, because it's so significantly better than everything in BFA, there is an argument to be made that... No, I mean, Shadowlands isn't terrible. And one of the other things is, I don't know exactly how the level brackets would work. You still would need to do a lot of the inefficient stuff. But... The problem with not having the Maw skip really sucks. Because the Maw really fucking sucks. So I'm trying to think about, like, how fast would Shadowlands be from, like, a campaign perspective. Obviously, you don't need to do Revendreth. You don't need to do the end of the Ardenweald campaign. So the Threads of Fate campaign would be kind of, or the new player campaign would be kind of a modified version of the Threads of Fate route, except there are certain things that are required. Like, yeah, because I'm thinking about it. In order to get to Ardenweald, there are so many quests that in Threads of Fate I was able to just skip that I just can't do, or that I'm forced to do, I mean, in a full campaign route, which is the only thing available now. The one that comes to mind is the whole Maldraxxus, like, trip into the Maw to free Alexandros Morgreen. That section of quests is so bad. And obviously, when campaign was the only option, you know, you did all that stuff. So I honestly may be better on my, like, as is, right, doing Shadowlands campaign, just because I've already done Shadowlands campaign a bajillion times. I did a million of those runs. I think before the fucking expansion even came out, I did like 5 full runs on the beta of the Shadowlands campaign. And then I did God knows how many more after the fact. I made a fucking guide on it at the time. So as much as I hated it, I have gotten the Shadowlands campaign down to like fucking perfect memory. And this is a little bit of personal bias. I still have my old guide saved. Admittedly, you know, it's really outdated and it's on Google Docs. So if I were to make that new guide, I would still need to take that, do some minor updates, and reformat it for HTML. But the thing about having like a basic framework of a script to work off of is that saves so much time. So obviously, like, if Shadowlands campaign isn't faster than BFA, then I'm not gonna do that, right? I'm not going to do something just because it saves me time guide writing. I've spent a lot of time writing guides before, and at the end of the day, my guide is going to be whatever is the fastest. But goddamn, do I hope, as weird as this sounds, that Shadowlands campaign is the fastest way for new players, because that's going to save me a lot of time on script writing, because I already have that banked up in the old version of the Google Doc leveling guide. Fun stuff. I don't know. It could be fun to revisit the Shadowlands campaign again. I can't believe those are words I honestly never even thought I'd utter, but get it, utter, because I'm playing a paladin, a Tauren. I'm just ignore me. Look, my brain is fried. Apparently, I might have COVID, which is fun. So I'm gonna use that as an excuse, right? But I posted on my Discord because I'm recording this on if I can show the date, Sunday, right? And I posted on my Discord a day or two ago because I haven't uploaded. I uploaded a video today. It's the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza guide, which is something a lot of people have been asking for a while. And I pretty much didn't upload this entire past week since making the dungeon leveling video, and I wasn't planning on not uploading. I had a few different uploads planned, and then I was extremely sick. And I didn't realize it was COVID because it was like not the symptoms of COVID, or at least not the ones that I'm familiar with. And then after doing some reading, I was like, oh, apparently these are common symptoms of COVID. So I may have actually had it. I still need to get tested, so I technically don't know 100% sure, but my dad has COVID. And if my dad has COVID and I was also just sick, really, really sick for like the past 3 days, then, I mean, logically speaking. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that my brain is still partially fried as a result, and, you know, if I say stupid shit, that's the reason why. But yeah, now, Shadowlands campaign, I don't know. It's... I think one of the things that really pisses me off is the fact that they remove Threads of Fate. I feel like them removing Threads of Fate, I complained about this at the time, and I still stand by it. It's not the end of the world, because at the end of the day, Shadowlands was never fast. Even Threads of Fate was not going to be fast. I was initially, in my very early routing, when I was unsure about how much experience would be needed, I was considering routing some parts of Threads of Fate into my leveling run. At this point, having done enough, 10 to 60 speedruns, I can say with like 99% certainty that even if they kept Threads of Fate, it wouldn't have made it into the leveling route. The main thing is they squished the levels from 10 to 60 to be actually marginally faster than 10 to 50 was back in Shadowlands. So I was initially operating under the assumption that I would need to do my original route and then some, and my and then some was going to be Shadowlands Threads of Fate. And my very early, like, not even like written drafts, like mental drafts, when I'm just theory crafting, like, okay, what is this leveling route going to look like? And before I even got around to doing that, they announced that Threads of Fate wasn't staying. But the moment they also announced the leveling squish and I tested it, I realized, no way was that going to be needed, because, this is already more than enough. And it's also, having done all this, I know a lot of people will be like, I misjudged my initial brackets for the leveling thing. And I will say the numbers that I was operating under were definitely off. I've said this before. For my initial leveling guide, my speedrun was more ahead than I accounted for. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, the only reason that you put that you should be level 45 in the video is because you were having all those XP buffs. Keep in mind that in my speedrun that the original leveling guide was based off of, I finished Hillsbred Foothills at like level 50 something. And in the video, I put level 45 because I did obviously not the best math, and I napkin mathed it out to roughly level 45 is where somebody with average buffs should fall. If I manage to get all the way up to 50 with anniversary buff, etc. A few things I didn't account for. The main thing I forgot to account for, and that's just an oversight on my part, is the monk experience buff. I did not factor that into my calculations. So I think it was closer to 44 in my original numbers, and I rounded up because I figured, closer. But in reality, I would say if you are using War Mode and Draft of 10 lands, and you have like the Heirloom 6-piece or whatever, or something like that, you're benefiting from like basic rested experience and stuff, you should expect to hit around level 40. So in the written guide, I've since corrected it to level 40. Obviously, I can't retroactively edit the video, But if I can hit around level 35, give or take, because mind you, I ended Hillsbrad early, and the last 2 levels that I spent in Hillsbrad, I was getting slightly reduced experience because I was no longer scaling with it. So if I had been doing this character on like a regular leveling run with no heirlooms, with only war mode, and no draft of 10 lands, I would have gotten to around level 35 by the end of Hillsbrad. And with draft of 10 lands, I think it is very safe to say that I would have gotten to around level 40. And when I say in my guide, right, that the leveling route is not factoring in experience buffs, this is something I thought was obvious. Apparently, it wasn't for people. You can still get all the way to the end of the guide with no experience buffs, right? As I could very easily show. Which is why I don't understand when people are like, I got to the end of Spires of Iraq and I didn't hit level whatever. And it's like, bullshit. Because I've done that before. I've done those tests. It is possible. Because I barely got through Gorgrond on both of my world records. So there absolutely is enough experience left over. And that, even my latest one, right, for Alliance, I didn't finish Duskwood and stuff. Admittedly, that had some dungeons in it, right? Point being, I've accounted for that, right? But a lot of the leveling suggestions were for people using specifically War Mode. War Mode is factored in no matter what. And this is something I didn't realize people were doing. I didn't realize there were people out there who existed who don't use War Mode. And I've since put a very strongly worded suggestion on my leveling guide, basically saying, turn on War Mode, because this is designed with War Mode in mind. And that's something I am perfectly happy to state, that if you don't turn on War Mode, you will fall slightly behind. You'll probably still hit 60, right? Because at the end of the day, there is so much bonus experience in Spires of Iraq and the end of Gorgrond. Anyone who does all of that and actually follows it should be able to hit level 60. Like, you have to be absolutely fucking up wildly to not. Or you have to have, like, forgotten to turn on Chromie time or something like that. But I have now made it very clear, you should, technically don't need to, but, like, you absolutely should turn on War Mode, because, like, if you aren't, what are you doing? Because there is no downside to War Mode. And I had a discussion with some people in my Discord about it, and a few people were like, oh, I don't like War Mode because I don't like PvP. And I'm like, you're not going to encounter anyone. And I basically said, trust me, go turn on War Mode. You won't regret it. They turned on War Mode. What do you know? Literally hours later, they were like, oh my god, why haven't I been turning on War Mode? This is amazing. Like, they didn't encounter any Alliance. They're getting bonus experience. They had, like, these overpowered PvP talents. And it's like, yeah, War Mode is literally just a free bonus. I literally was earlier on with this character, no heirlooms, whatever, in War Mode, a level 70 Alliance Paladin just walked past me. Didn't do anything. They were in Terran Mill. I don't even know why they were in Terran Mill. Probably some, like, old artifact quest for some Paladin shit. But they literally walked past me, didn't even gank me. The odds of you getting ganked are so absurdly low, and if it happens, like, consistently, first of all, that they actually let you report people for that. You can report somebody for gameplay disruption. So a lot of people genuinely don't want to do that anymore. But even then, right, just turn off War Mode at that point. If it's really bad, if you genuinely can't stop getting ganked, just turn off War Mode. Because it happens so infrequently. At that point, you're better off turning it on, getting the experience bonus temporarily, and the moment some cataclysmically bad ganking event happens, you just disable it, and, like, an hour later, when the person fucks off, turn it back on. Like, whenever you go hit a next level bracket, you hit, like, level 40, go back, learn Master Riding, turn War Mode back on, you're good to go. There's just absolutely zero reason to not have War Mode enabled. You don't need to PvP, you don't need to do anything. It is a free bonus. So I have officially put that on the leveling guide, like, you are expected to have it on. You technically don't need it, but the guide will be written with the expectation that you are turning on War Mode, and if you don't, you are accepting the fact that you will fall behind, but the guide will still give you enough experience to hit 60, if that is your choice, right? And then I put, again, draft of 10 lands. This one is a bit controversial. I've had a few people argue with me on this, saying that they think I'm wrong. You know, whatever, is what it is, I suppose. But I personally think that for leveling up alts, getting Draft of 10 lands is worth it. Obviously, on a brand new character, right? I'm not going to be able to get Draft of 10 lands on this particular paladin. That's just not something I can do, right? I technically could, but like it would not be worth it at that point. But if I have a level 70 character that is able to very quickly farm Draft of 10 lands, better yet, if I have multiple level 70 characters, it's really, really easy to get enough Draft of 10 lands to make up for the time it takes. The faction assaults at level 70 take about 5 minutes per character. 5 minutes for one Draft of 10 lands, which lasts an hour. I can safely tell you that the amount of time you're going to save with one Draft of 10 lands is more than 5 minutes. In many cases, it is a sizable increase, especially the final Draft of 10 lands that you can carry over into Dragonflight leveling, as I demonstrated in my latest world record. It is a sizable increase. So it's absolutely worth getting. I put a note on the guide about that anyways. Yeah. I'm rambling. I'm also out of water. Shit. I kind of just, like, sat down and pressed record. I didn't really think too much before starting this. Like, normally when I do a speed run, I plan ahead. This isn't really a speed run. This is... Well, I guess I'll talk about what this is. So, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to demonstrate how to win the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza with basically zero preparation. So, initially, I was going to level this character up to 45. Then, after leveling it up to 45, I was going to unlock High Mountain Tauren. Then I was going to level up High Mountain Tauren on this account all the way up to level 40. And then I was going to do the fishing tournament. And then I realized that it was already noon, and I was still level 30. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to do all of that before the fishing tournament, because at the time of recording, the fishing tournament is in 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours? Yeah, 3 hours. So I have 3 hours to get this character on a brand new, fresh account with just this to a point where I can win the fishing tournament. And, well, if you're watching this video, I fucking did it. Because guess what? I'm not going to upload this video if I didn't accomplish it. It'd be kind of embarrassing, honestly. I mean, I guess at the very least, I'll have a level 40 paladin that I can use for, I don't know, I'm sure there's some testing purposes that I can do in the future. But I just uploaded the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza thing, and this is like my way of preemptively heading off criticism, because I know somebody's going to be like, oh, you had Boots of the Bay and all these other fancy stuff, and you're saying it's a guaranteed win. Well, how can you guarantee that it's a win if you don't have all of this special equipment? And I know that I'm going to get some sort of comments like that, so basically I'm anticipating that criticism, and I'm going to literally win the tournament a second time immediately after releasing my video on it and telling everybody the secret, and then I'm going to do that exact same thing on a brand new account without any fishing equipment, leveled up from scratch in hours before the event, and I'm going to show you it's possible. And first I was going to use High Mountain Tauren, which is honestly a little bit of a cheat code, right? In this case, I'm not even going to have that. So I'm going to be completely real. There is a chance that I lose, right? It would suck because it would mean that, like, literally the next few hours of recording are going to be there for nothing. But I am confident that with my superior prep work, I can get this done. It's going to be tricky, though. It would be absolutely easy if I didn't release my video. And let this be a lesson, right? Because this is like, I fucking hate when people are like, oh, well, if you release tech, then, you know, everybody's going to be doing it. And, like, fucking good, right? It's like, if you can't accomplish something without strat hoarding, then you don't deserve the accomplishment in the first place, right? Like, whenever I accomplish something, whenever I do a speed run, I share my route so that other people can do it. I literally show everything in my run. I explain all the tricks I do. Absolutely nothing is hidden, right? Sometimes I will explain it deeper into the run, because I do think that, you know, I want to leave a little bit of nuggets of information for attentive viewers, right? If you watch all the way through, I think you deserve to get, like, a bit more information than somebody who just skims, right? And I think it makes sense. You know, those people are going to be the ones who actually care about it in the first place. I hate this stupid UI bug. They need to fix this. This is so annoying. Reload. Ah. But yeah, no, I share all my strats. I hate the idea of strat hoarding. I mean, strat hoarding is a frowned upon idea in any game, right? For any speedrunning thing, whatever. But in the terms of this, right? Like I've seen a lot of channels that say like, "Oh, well, I can't share this because it would get patched." And I think I generally dislike exploits anyway. So I think if something is blatantly exploiting and you're hiding it from Blizzard so that you can use it and you can share it with your buddies so they can use it too, fuck you, right? Especially if you're putting that behind a paywall, double fuck you, because at that point, that's just like majorly unethical. Like, I'd be lying if I said I didn't give my friends and guildies like heads up before if I find like a big important thing, like, hey, like the Stranglethorn fishing thing. I told some of my friends about it beforehand. Now, in that case, I was also having them proofread the script, right? Usually before I send out a video, I send my friends the script and I'm like, hey, can you proofread this for me? And obviously, in that case, they're going to get an early look anyways. But yeah, I mean, I think my friends got like a 12-hour additional heads up. And in this case, none of them actually cared. Like the ones who already have the fishing extravaganza already have it. Like they don't give a shit. Um, but like, yeah, obviously I can give my friends or guildies like a minor heads up. But I think any more than like a day or whatever is shitty, right? At that point, that's unethical, I would say. Especially if it's an exploit. Like, the thing I'm doing in my Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza video is not an exploit. Nothing about that is an exploit. That is all game mechanics working as intended. The two major strategies that I proposed were Chromie Time, which has been known about for a very long time, and I've already made a video discussing that exact trick. Blizzard has not patched it. If they don't think that's intended behavior, then I don't know. There's a reason why I literally waited 2 years to make a video on that Chromie Time thing, despite the fact that I discovered that, and if you look in the notes on my Google Doc, I had a note about how to do the party sync swap literally in the original version of the Google Doc, all the way down to like the miscellaneous notes section. Um, I think I even mentioned it in the original video, which is now unlisted, right? The leveling guide way back when. Um, but yeah, it's a long, like old tech, or I don't know if I said long. It's an old tech. In fact, the first time I ever used it was I was trying to gather bonus footage for my original leveling guide because at the time I was like really strapped for time. So these days, if I need bonus footage for a leveling guide, well, the nice thing about having done a million speedruns is I have so much B-roll, it's not even funny. So I effectively never need to get additional footage for like background leveling guide stuff. I almost always have footage that I need. And worst case scenario, it's like, oh, I'm missing footage on like this one particular rare mob or quest or whatever. I just go out and do it. I've also started using the PTR servers to get a lot of that stuff done. So if I need to get footage of like a rare mob or I need to do a quest, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll like copy over my characters at certain checkpoints, like level 40, onto PTR servers, and that way I can effectively level them twice at key moments. So over the years, I've figured out ways to speed up like the footage gathering process. But back during my original leveling speedrun and leveling guide back in late 2020, I, wasn't as, I guess, like video editing savvy as I am now. And I didn't really think to do that. So I was like, well, I don't really have time to do an entire additional leveling run. So I guess I will just phase my character, my Volpera Hunter, into Chromie Time and repeat the quests using Party Sync. That's what I did to get additional B-roll. And I actually, while getting additional footage for quests in Spires of Iraq, because I believe in my original speedrun, that was the one where like I ran into lag in Gorgrond and I was forced to do Eastern Plagueland, or Western Plaguelands, yeah. So because I was forced to do Western Plaguelands on my original speedrun, I actually didn't get actual speedrun footage of Spires of Iraq when I was doing the speedrun itself. So I had to go and basically do the entire questline and record myself on that hunter doing that questline because I wanted to include that in the video. And while I was in, where was it? I think I actually in that video included a tiny bit of footage of that because I thought it was funny. Right around here in Spires of Iraq. Yeah, it was between this area. I found it was like a low level, like level 30 something horde player getting ganked by 3 level like 45 alliance players. And obviously at that point my hunter was level 50 and I was synced down. So I 1v3'd the alliance players that were ganking this horde player. And then the horde player was like, "Oh, that was awesome, thank you." And I just remember feeling like, fucking like awesome because of that. Because like, oh yeah, I just saved this guy's ass. Because he probably wasn't expecting a level 50 to just drop into Chromie time and save the day. So it was like a fun little experiment, or experience. I don't know why I said experiment. You know what I mean. Point being, all of that to say, I knew about that Chromie time tech for 2 years. I sat on that tech for 2 years because I thought it was an exploit. I mentioned it in my guide, so I did at least put the information out to the public, but I didn't want to make a full video on it because I was worried that if I taught people about this exploit, then a lot of people would be using it. So, I mean, I didn't use it myself other than to gather Chromie time footage for my video guides. But then when, when Dragonflight rolled around and a lot of people were using, or were trying to farm the, Falling Flame. And I saw that a few people were using Chromie time because I had the same idea. I was immediately like, ooh, I can use Chromie time for this. I went into Chromie time and I checked it out and I saw that there were a handful of other people there, but infinitely less than the traditional phases. And I was like, okay, well, if some people are using this and it's been 2 years and Blizzard has still not addressed this, and I checked, there are like forum posts that bring it up, so Blizzard should have been aware of it. This is an upgrade, right? Yeah, I think so. And this is an upgrade. Shoot the flare gun. What was I saying? Right, yeah, so I made the video on it. Covered it. And admittedly, when I was getting footage for that video, I was like, hey, fuck it, I need to get footage for this video anyway, so I had a bunch of my guildies, or tried to help them get the Falling Flame. I don't think any of them directly got the Falling Flame on my test runs. I actually did, though, which was fucking hilarious, but I got the Falling Flame when I wasn't recording, because I got it on my first try. And I literally went there just to test if the method worked. I killed the mob, I looted it, got the Falling Flame, and then my guildies who had already been camping it for, like, fucking days were pissed. So then as kind of an exchange, I'm like, okay, well, here's this video I'm working on about, like, the secret Chromie time tech. I'll help you guys get a few kills. You can help me get some B-roll for the video. Win-win situation. And then a few days later, I released it to the public, right? So I think in that case, that's how you have to handle stuff like that. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but yeah, I basically hate people who strat horde. Oh yeah, the entire point I was trying to make is with the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza. I know somebody already put like a joking comment, which I thought was funny, about like, hey, great guide, but can everybody watching this like conveniently forget the video they just saw? Which, yeah, obviously, it's a foolproof strategy when I use it and nobody else knows about it, which is something I kind of need to do in order to prove its efficacy, because I need to show that it works. So I did get a really, really, really easy win in the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza. Surprisingly easy, by the way. I fucked up royally, and I still won like 5 minutes ahead of tons of other people. Crazy how efficient that thing is. But I demonstrated it worked. I got an easy win, which I didn't even need for the record, because I already have literally every single possible reward on my Death Knight, which is the character I used, because obviously that character is Boots of the Bay. Of course, I'm going to use that character to do the testing. But yeah, it is, I guess you could argue, a slight advantage that I had all of the special fishing equipment, even though I'm very confident that when done correctly, none of that is required to win the fishing tournament. Some good RNG is inherently required to win the tournament, but the perfect fishing equipment, no. The difference that's going to make is marginal, especially when the fishing pole is disabled. So I thought, well, even though I've already published the video, and frankly, I could leave it there, right? A lot of people would, I think. Maybe I'm giving myself too much of a pound on the back in that case, but I would think it's safe to say that a lot of people will just put out a video like that, do one test run, and then be like, yep, I'm done. and then just release the video and have it sit. But I don't want to rest on that. I want to make sure that it is actually, the best way to win the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza, and that I didn't, overestimate it. And I could have, I suppose, delayed the video by an entire extra week just to do the testing, but I didn't really want to do that. That's one thing where it's like, whatever, sue me. I felt it was better to get it out to the public as early as possible so that they could benefit from it, and risk the chance that maybe it isn't as good of a strategy as I think it is. But I think it's a pretty damn good strategy. Holy shit! What the fuck? All right. That's 4 proof of strengths in a single pull. That is way above average RNG, considering I underkilled like crazy there. I normally kill like at least twice as many mobs, and sometimes I don't even get 3. I got 4. That amount of kills. Fucking Christ. All right. Yeah, so I think that was the right move, but obviously, like I said, in case there's any criticism, in case people say that it isn't actually something that works, either because of the competition or because you need all the fishing gear, I want to make sure that I dispel literally all of those concerns in the most definitive way possible, which is winning it on a brand new account. This is the first character I've created on this account, mind you, and I have /played 12 hours. About 3 hours, by the way, those 12 hours /played were spent sitting on the Exile's Reach boat, because for whatever reason, it took my sister 3 hours to load into the boat on Exile's Reach. I don't know what was wrong with her, internet at that hotel, but it was fucking wild, some of the connection issues and problems like with the blue walls and stuff that we ran into. But yeah, definitely, I feel like if I can win this on an account that only has 12 hours /played, probably a pretty good sign. First thing I need to do, though, is I need to hit level 40, because if you watch the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza video, one of the requirements, quote-unquote, is level 40 for Master Riding. Now, one thing that I am still actively deciding, and you will get to watch me make that decision in real time, is whether I'm going to do the tournament with War Mode on or War Mode off. And I think what it's going to come down to is when the tournament is about to start, I'm going to fly around in War Mode, and if I see a lot of people in War Mode Chromie time, which is possible, I suppose, a lot of Alliance specifically. If there's other Horde players, I'll compete against them. I feel confident. But if there's a lot of Alliance Chromie time players, obviously a level 40 player competing in the fishing tournament is going to get one shot by any scaled down level 60s. That would just be suicide. Because, yeah, if you're a level 60 and somebody's trying to gank you, it sucks, but like you can at least escape them or something like that. It is an inherent risk of War Mode, but whereas for max level characters, War Mode is probably ideal just because you should be able to handle yourself if anything happens. For low-level characters, it is never a good idea for the fishing tournament, because if there is even one other Alliance level 70 there, you are just dead. They will kill you. If I saw a low-level player competing for my nodes, I would kill them. And I don't consider myself to be an asshole, but I'm sorry, when you're competing in a contest like that, and you are able to one-shot somebody to cut a shit ton of competition, you one-shot that person to cut the competition. So I wouldn't blame somebody for ganking me. But if it is completely empty, I will take the gamble. And there's still, of course, the chance that I get ganked midway through the fishing tournament. And not much I'd be able to do about that. It would just, be what it is. And that would really suck. That would be one hell of a way to lose this challenge. But I'm willing to take the risk. But I might need to not do that. I also haven't even practiced setting up cross-account Chromie time phasing, because I use a trial account attached to my Battle.net account for my traditional Chromie time phasing. And that is really easy to set up. And that doesn't count as effectively a separate account. As long as you're attached to the same Battle.net account, you get like all the same perks. You don't get like a subscription, right? So you technically would need to pay a second sub. But this is like literally a brand new Battle.net account that I created from scratch with absolutely nothing on it. It has no direct association with my main account. Therefore, I would have to figure out how to run both of them at the same time. I'd imagine I can like launch the WoW client manually and do something, but we'll see. I've been talking a lot though, and especially sucks because I didn't refill my water before starting, which is something I normally do. What else though? I feel this is a fun challenge though. I would like to be doing it on a druid. I would have liked to have a little bit more time to prep, but um, I was planning on pulling an all-nighter, and I am impressed that I even managed to make it this far, because I'm going to be honest, like, I had this idea last night to do this challenge, and part of me was like, yeah, I don't really think I'll be able to do it, because I've gotten 2 hours of sleep, and I was already, like, fairly tired, and I finished the video at 1 in the morning, the Stranglethorn Fishing video, because I needed to get that out so that people had time to study the strategy, because I didn't want to drop it on people right before the event began. And I'm glad I did. People seem to be receiving it well. But after that, I still needed to write the written guide because I hadn't finished the written guide yet. I hadn't even started the written guide at that point. I had some framework because I script every video, right? So I have a written script set up, and I was able to, for parts of the written guide, adapt sections of the script and then like rewrite it and obviously reformat it to fit HTML. But there were a lot of sections that I was adding exclusive to the written guide, like the part about fishing gear. And that stuff I had to do from scratch. And it took me about, like, I don't know, 5 hours or so. And actually, exactly 5 hours. Because I basically, I made it until, like, 4 in the morning. And I was testing some other stuff. I was basically like setting up the framework for this video, trying to get it started. There were a few other things that I wanted to test for a different video that I'm working on, and I wanted to make sure that I got that testing done. And then I'm like, okay, it's 4 in the morning, and then I could really start to feel like exhaustion set in, and I'm like, oh boy, especially because like we just established, I'm still recovering from what is most likely COVID, and still, lingering effects of that. I don't feel like 100%. I would say right now I'm feeling like 85%. Whereas like a few days ago I was feeling like 5%, 10%. I felt fucking bad. Maybe not. Probably more like 15%. I still felt like absolute fucking shit. But I've definitely felt worse. Like I had pneumonia in high school, and I think that was probably the worst I've ever felt. Like if I ever had to pinpoint a time in my life where I'm like, yeah, this is what dying feels like, that was probably when I had pneumonia in high school. But this felt pretty fucking terrible. Yeah. So I was not doing too hot. So to go from like 15% to like 85%, definitely past 24 hours, I felt infinitely better, which is good. Happy for that. But still not amazing. Like I have some like minor stomach aches. Like my throat is slightly sore, but admittedly that could be because I've already been talking for over an hour nonstop. Might have something to do with it. But yeah. And still, like my muscles have been like killing me. It's like my entire body has just been like, oh. Like I when I was trying to get out of bed the other day, I could literally barely lift my head. It felt like all of the muscles in my neck were just like completely shut down. It was fucking wild. So better now, but I think still lingering effects of that, so it's not like absolutely perfect. Um, which meant all that to say, by the time I got around to starting the written guide, it was 4 in the morning. And actually, 1 second, quick. All right, yeah, it was 4 in the morning when I finally got around to working the written guide, and then after typing like 2 sentences, I basically because I had to, I don't know if you don't know how HTML works, like to update the website, right? I'm adding a brand new page, so I'm not just making an update to an existing page. Let's take I guess here I should, yeah, probably just take Avenging Wrath. Might. But I should really go down here, because I want Crusader's Judgment. Does it matter? Is it worth going down Light of the Titans? Like, if I were... What I should probably do, right, is I should go... after this... You don't want that. After I get Guardian of Ancient Kings, I would want to go down here. Yeah, down here, and then pick up Crusader's Judgment, leading into the final section. I think, would that be exactly enough? It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'd be spending 1 extra point here. I'm sure I could find some way to swap things around. But yeah, I mean, either way, I don't think it's worth going all the way for Crusader's Judgment this early on. But yeah, so HTML, like, I'm adding a brand new page, so I can't just, like, update an existing page and just, resubmit the code on AWS, because that's where my website's hosted. And I would have to, first off, like, create a brand new page and make sure all the links are working properly. And then I would have to go to every single other web page. At this point, I think there are 13 unique pages on my website, and I would have to update the links on every single one of those to make sure it's consistent across every page on my website. So before I did any of the actual guide writing, I first spent about 30 minutes doing that. And by the time I was done making sure all the links were correct on every single page, I was just exhausted. So I took a slightly longer than normal power nap because I overslept my first alarm. But luckily I set a second alarm. And then I woke up at 6 in the morning. I spent 5 hours working on the written fishing guide. And then at 11 in the morning, I'm like, oh, hey, I have 7 hours to do that entire speed run thing for the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza. And there's absolutely no way in hell I'm going to level up 2 completely separate characters for that. So I'm barely going to make it on this character in the first place. Down to the wire here. But I would say I can do it because I'm going to hit level 40 at around 3 o'clock. That gives me 2 hours to basically do the prep for the fishing tournament itself. The master riding obviously is not hard. That much I can do very easily. You need 5k golds. Right? So I'm just going to go there, I'm going to spend gold, get master riding. Bing, bang, boom. I already bought the Swift Red Wind Rider, which is obviously not something you normally need to do because I'm assuming that, you already have it. In fact, I think normally telling somebody that they need master riding is kind of an oxymoron in the first place. I wouldn't say oxymoron, right? But pointless, right, in the first place, because most people will be doing it on their main, and if they don't have master riding on their main, they're probably a new player, in which case, the idea of going for the Dread Pirate Ring on a fresh account like this is absolutely insane. No new player should ever do this. I'm just trying to do it to show that it is possible. Because if it is possible to do this absolutely batshit insane thing, then for the average player, it should be more than possible. And for me, obviously, I need to learn Master Riding. But I think the main reason why I decided to mention Master Riding in my guide is because of the High Mountain Tauren bit at the end. Because since I'm going to mention, High Mountain Taurens are a good option, some people might think, well, I'll just get a low-level High Mountain Tauren alt. I know you can technically use class trials, but I didn't want to mention the class trial thing. I feel like the class trial shit isn't even something that I like to do. I consider that actually an exploit. I'm surprised Blizzard hasn't fixed it yet. So I don't do that. Obviously it's not bannable, right? So I don't necessarily frown upon people that do that, but I'm not necessarily going to encourage it. But I figure if somebody wants to follow my advice, so this is the first trinket we've got. Nice. If somebody wants to follow my advice and level up a High Mountain Tauren, I want to make sure they know that they effectively need to get to no transmog. They effectively need to get to level 1410, 1411. Okay, this is A marginal upgrade, yeah. I keep cutting myself off. I'm sorry. I want to make it clear to people that if they want to get a high mountain turn alt ready for the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza, the bare minimum that they need to do is get it to level 40 for Master Riding. Sorry, that thought was so simple, and yet it took me such a long time to get, the thought put out. But yeah, you can't, on a sub-level 40 character, realistically win the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza. It is just not possible. So, this is like the absolute bare minimum that you would need on your account to get this done, is what I'm hoping to demonstrate. At level 39, I might honestly just be about to finish this. I'll do the next two Rexar quests just because they're very easy to complete, and it gives me another chance to use my whatever thing. So I can round up a bunch of Basilisks and Steam Furies. I can do this. I'm going to get this Basilisk right here. I'm going to get this Steam Fury and these little guys. I'm going to try to make sure the first one doesn't reset. And I'm going to attempt to Avenger Shield this guy, and then I need to immediately go back here and stand in the midpoint of all these mobs. We got 2 evade bugs. Fuck, but we can get this one back. We can get this one back. Okay. So I can kill all these guys. Interrupt that. And then quickly loot to see what we got. Both of them. Fuck, yes. I don't even know what I need, because I got 4 in the first one. Gorin, Granite. Do I have Orcthorn? Botanite Bloom. I don't have Orcthorn. So Orcthorn is something I can potentially get. It's the only one I didn't get from here. And load it there. Might be able to... No, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't have Orcthorn, right? Botanite Bloom. Just double check. Basilisk, Botanite Bloom, Elemental Crystal, Gorin Tooth, Bronze Scale, or Granite, Groundling Scale. Yeah. So that was the correct play there, going for Wild Orcthorn. My RNG in this run is off the fucking charts, by the way. Like, first try, 4 out of 5 possible items from Affliction Ridge is insane. And then to top it off, like, literally on the very first pull, I get both Basilisk and the Elemental Crystal. Like, you usually get both of these eventually, but usually you don't even have a chance, right? So you could argue that my RNG here was average, because normally you get both anyway. It's really rare to not get both, but I have had it happen, unfortunately. But the fact that I got it on the first pull, which even afforded me a chance at going back and getting Orcthorn, and honestly, if this was an actual speedrun, and I had been able to kill things much faster, like if I was on a Windwalker Monk, I could have shredded those 2 orcs really quickly. That would have given me a decent shot at Orcthorn. And I would say probably like 6 out of 10 times I get Orcthorn there in an actual speedrun, which would make this RNG like absolutely redonkulously good. Especially because my initial kill times for these mobs was really slow. So you'd have to consider the fact that I would also have an additional 10 seconds on top of the time that I had. The real question is, why can't I get this RNG on actual speedruns and not a partial leveling run to test a Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza thing? This is like... What's a good way to describe this? This is like an event leveling run. It's not like an actual leveling run. It's like one of those, like, TV episodes where it's like a crossover between, like, 2 different shows. This is like the crossover between the Fresh Account Leveling show and the Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza show. And, It's like, you know, the two main characters of different sitcoms finally meet or something. I guess I want haste mastery. Sure. I don't actually know what the current stat prio is for prop pally, so I'm just gonna YOLO it. This is one of my allies, and then I turn in this quest, and then I hand in my proof of strength stuff, and I am very comfortably at level 40. Alright. Let me just pick up the Rexar quest in case I forgot something. No, I'm good. Yeah, head back, and I'm extremely comfortably level 40. Yeah. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3.5 bars with 6 proofs of strength. I think I got this. And the worst case scenario, if my math is horseshit, I still have Crimson Fin and multiple random treasures that I can pick up. But like, look, I've been bad at math before. I would have to be really bad to get this one wrong. Ah. I just realized a good way to showcase it is I don't even have an authenticator on my account yet. One thing I'm not sure about is if I can use the same authenticator app for 2 different Battle.net accounts. I would imagine, logically speaking, no. But, worth checking out. Yeah, that's level 40. Okay. Alright. I mean, so far I've been making pretty good time. I feel like this has been pretty solid, all things considered. Anyways, yeah, I can't sit here and dawdle. I have to get started. Now, the real question is, are there any talents here that help me with fishing? Hmm. Um, I don't think any of these talents help me with fishing. This might seem like a stupid question, mind you, but, I think, like, something I can do. I can take 1 point out of this, put a point into Bop, Divine Shield, Arm Defender, Lay on Hands. Take another point out of this, put a point into that, and Blessing of Freedom. Anything that buffs movement speed, anything that... does Repentance... Repentance, yeah, it works against humanoids, demons, undead, dragonkin, and giants. It does not work against beasts. The main beasts that I'm going to have to deal with or the main enemies I'll have to deal with are crocodiles. So this inherently doesn't really help me against, like, incapping any of the NPCs that I'll encounter. So not really worth it to take Repentance. Like, I could take Repentance if I get ganked, but I think it'll fail against level 70 players anyways. So on the off chance someone tries to gank me, if I see them coming, I can pop, like, Bop or something and try to get away. But Bop probably won't really help. But it's worth a shot, right? And then this allows me to take Unbound Freedom, because Unbound Freedom is a minor speed increase that I can throw on myself, which I guess is better than nothing. None of these are really significant damage increases, so they don't really matter. There's no amazing speed increases here, I would say. Block chance, blah, 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 blah. Spell warding, not really necessary. Something like that for... At the same time, you have to keep in mind, I can't sacrifice too much damage because I will be forced to kill crocodiles. Right? One of the mistakes I made in my original run last weekend is I was in Chromie time, right? And I didn't try to kill crocodiles. What I'm going to be doing now is, because I'll have all my cooldowns, I want a cooldown-based build so I can run into a bunch of mobs, pull a bunch of crocodiles, nuke them, and then immediately start fishing. And that way I won't have to worry about getting interrupted mid-cast, because I lost like a good 2 minutes to that, whereas if I just nuke them all right at the start, that'll save me time. So I think this gives me all of the damage that I realistically would need to make that happen, while also giving me a decent amount of movement speed. Yeah, this is the build we go with. All right. A little over 2 hours. And hopefully this isn't too boring to watch, right? If it is, I'm sorry, but, you know, maybe I'll edit it. Maybe I won't. I don't fucking know. I'm going to... I'll just abandon all these quests. I'm not really going to touch this character after the fact. I'll keep this character probably on this account just for testing purposes. Like, if I need to test something specifically at level 40. Like, maybe I'll get this character up to level 45, and I'll level this character through... what's it called? Oh, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, I could get this character up to 45. I could level this one through BFA and the other one through my, you know, hypothesized faster Shadowlands route. That could be a good idea. Yeah, so that's probably what I'll use this character for. But obviously, I'm going to want to do a full 1 to 60 run anyways, so I don't really need to continue on this one. Let's see, where do I go? I guess I just go back to Orgrimmar and we start fishing. So, what can I do? I think I would need flight points. Yeah, to save time, I would need to get flight points or master riding. Actually, I don't need flight points, right? I just need master riding, because if I have master riding, I can just put myself on autofly and into Stranglethorn Vale. Yeah. So I already learned fishing. I can take fishing journal, middle mouse button. I didn't set up that keybind. So options, key bindings, extra action bars, action bar 6, action bar 4. Yeah, action bar 4. And then this is middle mouse button. And that is fishing. So the fishing skill in question I need to level up is classic fishing. That's the one I care about. So I'm going to head down here, learn master riding. And this mount works with master riding, right? This works with master riding. Perfect. Okay, so trying to think, is there anything I'm missing? I might as well, while I'm still at the auction house, grab important items that I mentioned in my video. So, do I have item level? I need to get item level 50 gloves. So, armor, plate, hands, usable only. Okay, find something at pretty much exactly item level 50, because I am going to be using this in combat. I wanted to have as high stats as possible. So, that's just over 50. This is 444. This is cheaper, and it's 453, so effectively identical. All right, we'll go with this. And go back, get the Angler enchant. Oh, enchant gloves Angler. There we go. You people are trying to fucking sell it for really expensive, huh? Huh. All right. Pop that on there. And I'll just be using that for now. So I'll throw this in this bag. Set this to consumables. Okay, so that's my fishing gloves. Let me check my fishing guide. I can even, I'll just open up www.harlden.com, my website, which has the updated fishing extravaganza guide. You can click over there. We're down there. Preparation. All right, learn master riding. Done that. Raise my classic fishing skill to 300. Got to do that. Set my Hearthstone to Booty Bay. I will do that pretty much the moment I land in Booty Bay. Or the moment I land in... Actually, I should just go to Booty Bay. Right. Either way, learn Find Fish. I will probably head to Wetlands just to get that. Because in my experience, it is easier to find that in wetlands, and you can still level classic fishing in the wetlands. I need Captain Rumsey's Lager and Elixir of Water Walking, so I will get probably like 40 Captain Rumsey's Lager. Captain Rumsey's Lager. Oh, this is so cheap. Yeah, definitely grab 40 of that. 20 gold for 40 Captain Rumsey's Lager? Fuck yeah. That's even cheaper than it was before. Elixir of... Why did I just type elixir? Water. Elixir Water Walking, still really cheap. This lasts for 10 minutes, so... let's just get 40. I mean, it's still pretty cheap. Better safe than sorry, right? I don't need any lures, so I don't need to worry about that. Not getting any fishing equipment. Fishing poles don't matter. Fishing hats. There aren't any fishing hats that I can acquire. Fishing boots. No fishing boots that I can acquire. And... oh, oversized bobber. Ah. I'll get oversized bobber. Blah, why not? Let's get another 20 of these bad boys. Alright. What the fuck? What happened to the... Oh, God. The text got... What is wrong with the text on the website? Oh, fuck me. Okay, well, unfortunately, I just noticed a major, I don't know, code error or something on my website. So, I guess I will be editing this video. Yay! Yeah, insert, Eric Andre. We'll be right back. Alright, we're resuming. That was, thankfully, an easy issue to fix. I don't know how much I edited it out, but there was some weird issue where apparently there's like 2 different types of apostrophes in HTML, and one of them causes an error, and the other one is, well, an apostrophe. So I had to go in and find the wrong apostrophes, the sussy apostrophes that, you know, were, you know, not belonging or whatever. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. God damn it. Should I fucking... Fuck it. I'm gonna keep that in there. Yeah, the imposter apostrophes. I like fuck. God damn it. Either way, I fixed the bug in my code. It took about like 10 minutes. So not too bad. And then while I went in, got ice cream, I put myself on like, you know, auto fly towards Ratchet, took the boat to Booty Bay, and here we go. Set my Hearthstone to Booty Bay. Got it here. And yeah, so there's players in Booty Bay, but mind you, I'm not in... Actually, no, I'm not in Chromie Time because I can't enable it on this account. So, wait a second. Wait a second. Can I enter Chromie Time on this account? I I didn't think about that. Are trial accounts allowed to party sync phase into Chromie Time? Wait a second. Wait a second. How did I get this far without... Okay, well, hold on. If I log out of BattleNet, does it... It doesn't log me out of WoW. So can I then... can log into a separate BattleNet account and I don't get disconnected, right? Theoretically, that's how that should work. I mean, now that I have my Hearthstone set, I should just be able to auto-fly towards wetlands and begin fishing. And I'm going to operate under the assumption that this all works. Because if it doesn't, oh boy, am I fucked. I stand no chance outside of Chromie. I didn't even think of that. Fuck me. How did I not even consider that? I mean, in theory, should still work, right? I'm logged into 2 WoW accounts at the same time. The last time I tried this, it, like, nearly crashed my computer. It's honestly really difficult to keep two WoW things, at least on my computer, running at the same time without it, like, having a massive memory meltdown. Okay, but I have my level 40 druid parked in Stranglethorn Vale. And I believe I have Chromie Time turned on. Alright, so if I... No, Raccoon... Yeah, I have Chromie Time turned on this druid, right? Yeah, everything's scaling. So my druid would need to invite my paladin to a group. And accept. And then my druid would need to initiate party sync. And... no shit! How did I not even think of this? You could just fucking parties. So, obviously, this is not an actual method for new characters, right? Because, like, imagine if I made a new player guide that was like, just magically pull a second account out of your ass to party sync yourself into Chromie Time. What? How? The fact that at no point the thought even crossed my mind of, like, can you party sync yourself into Chromie Time? Like, man, it seems so obvious. Like, yeah. I guess so. If you're leveling with a friend and they are on a brand new account, literally just party sync them into Chromie Time. It's that simple. So, I guess for any new player guide I make, I will probably at least include a note at the end, something to the effect of, hey, if you're like a veteran player trying to level with one of your friends, you don't need to follow this guide. Follow my regular guide, party sync with your friends, and they will be able to get full access to Chromie Time. That's actually really good information. Because I know I literally got a comment that said something to the effect of exactly what I just described. Somebody saying, my friend just got into WoW, and I was looking for leveling routes that they could use. And, I mean, in this particular instance, I've just proven that having a friend playing the game automatically completely removes the need to follow Blizzard's railroaded path. How has nobody figured this out? How have I not figured this out before? How is this... I mean, I'm glad I finally realized this, but goddamn, it took literally, like, look, I take at least solace in the knowledge that, I'm going to Google this. Has anybody else at least pieced this together, right? Fresh WoW account, party, sync, Chromie Time. I don't know how to... level sync and Chromie Time, remove restrictions, please. I'm a returning player, played through the end of blah, 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 blah. I just returned, my girlfriend's playing, she chose Blood Elf. She's about to hit... Oh! So these people... Yeah, I'm reading a Reddit post basically asking a similar question, and they just said, you know, oh, my girlfriend is about to hit level 50, which means she'll unlock Chromie Time. So they didn't even consider that. You can't use Chromie after 50, but you can still return to old zones. Almost dropped my ice cream spoon. Oh, this was before Dragonflight launched. Yeah, and then the comments also say, on your first character, you can't use Chromie Time anyway. Let's see. Some comments actually got downvoted on the Reddit post. There's technically a workaround here. I'm going to explain it briefly so you know it exists, but you probably won't have a huge desire to do this. The answer is you can go back and do Chromie Time with her even if you're both post 50. Chromie Time turns off for your character at 50, but you can party sync with other players. So if your character is 55 and your girlfriend is 40, you can party sync with her and it'll drop you to level 40 and pretend you're level 40. However, you need 1 max level account. Actually, no, this comment didn't. This, basically, it's saying that on your second or third character, if you want to level with your girlfriend's alt while playing your main, you can party sync, which, like, obviously we know that. And then there's one more forum post that I found. Level sync and chromie time, remove restrictions, please. Chromie time, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I agree with most of the stuff here. Oh, so this forum post is saying, remove the need to do this jank garbage for, chromie time and whatever. I should also turn off this thing. So for now, I'm actually going to go ahead and close my second WoW client because I don't need it, right? It's actually actively detrimental for me to be in chromie time right now because the mobs will scale up and then I'll have to deal with them. Whereas this lets me farm my classic fishing skill in peace. Yeah, somebody says you can create a trial account. As far as I can tell, I am literally the only person to realize that a veteran player can enable chromie time for a brand new account by party syncing. Which seems so obvious, right? Like, how did I not realize this? How did nobody else realize this? I mean, the answer is because I've never tested it, right? Like, even if I had thought of this in theory, it would have only been a theory until I created a fresh account and tested it. I'm surprised nobody else has figured this out by now. And it's not common knowledge. Because you would think that would be the first thing you'd try, right? Amazing that I've never considered this. Holy shit. And, like, the entire reason that I created this account early, because I was going to do a fresh account leveling thing later on regardless. That was something I had planned. But I literally created it to level with my sister now, early on, because I'm like, well, if my sister's starting WoW, she won't have access to chromie time, so I might as well start that fresh account early, because I gotta do that anyway, and I'm not going to be able to level with my sister in chromie time anyway. So my first thought wasn't even, why don't I just party sync with my sister? Fucking... wow. This is a pretty big revelation, I think. Huh. I don't know what to say. I've been on a roll lately. I just keep finding fucking new solution after new solution. Whenever you're sitting around, or whenever I'm sitting around trying to, like, think of video ideas. At this point, I have a bunch, right? But there have been times in the past where I'm sitting there like, I need a good idea for a video, and I can't think of anything good. And I'm like, I wish I could just have one of those eureka moments where I have, like, a miraculously good idea. And I'm like, oh, man. It sucks that those things don't come about too often. And then here we go. I get, like, fucking 3 of them back to back in the same fucking span of, like, 2 weeks. Holy hell. And that's not even counting, like, my ideas with the fucking leveling challenge runs. Whew. I am on a fucking roll lately. Huh. So anyways, what was I saying, right? So we have, following my fishing guide that I have on my website, I've already done the basic stuff. I set my Hearthstone to Booty Bay. I need to get the Find Fish skill from the Weather-Beaten Fishing Journal, which is why I am fishing in the wetlands. The best way to get this is to fish in wreckage pools, and I will do that. And, I already have Elixir of Water Walking, Captain Rumsey's Lager. I have my Angler Glove enchant equipped right now. Alright. And that is the only thing... yeah, so that is literally all I'll be able to do in terms of prep work before the event starts. The only thing that I can do from now on is learn Find Fish and raise my classic fishing skill to 300. So I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to narrate the entire time while I'm fishing up to 300. That would be kind of boring. Like, it's easy to find shit to talk about when you're questing and, you know, your mind is at least moving at a brisk pace because you have to keep up with the quests and blah, blah, blah. It's easy for me to keep my train of thought going. But my train of thought gets derailed, or rather, comes to a abrupt halt when I am forced to fish 300 times in the span of an hour and a half. I actually need to get going. So I feel like, though, you can kind of maybe at least forgive me for not putting in a ton of commentary, considering I've also made what is quite possibly a major revolution in fresh account leveling out of nowhere, right? So that probably more than makes up for the fact that this is going to be a commentary light speedrun. So what I'm going to go do, while I fly around the wetlands and try to find fish, is I am going to watch Battlestar Galactica, because if you watched some of my streams from a year ago, you'll remember my dad, whenever he would like pop in and bring me coffee or something, he'd always be like, you need to watch Battlestar Galactica, because like he talked about it in my chat once, and then a bunch of people in my chat were like, yeah, Battlestar Galactica's awesome, and my dad was like, I know, right? And then he started nagging me once again to watch it, because my dad is like a Battlestar Galactica super fan. And finally he I was telling him to watch so for context, my dad really likes watching Hallmark movies and like romantic comedies and stuff, and he finally recently got into anime. I finally got him to start watching some. I think I talked about how he really liked Attack on Titan, and he even set the Attack on Titan season 4 opening song as his like wake up alarm. And now he's watching like a bunch of random anime that I haven't even heard of. So he's off on doing his own thing now. But I know he likes, the cutesy romantic comedy type shows, and I finally recently watched Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, and it's actually I didn't want to watch it because the name is like admittedly kind of cringe. But I finally got around to it, and it's actually like a fucking amazing show, and I'm kicking myself for not watching it sooner. It's just a damn good romantic comedy, but like also just a good show. Like it's not even, I would say it's light on the comedy. It is just a fucking good show, kind of emotional too. I generally don't like, cutesy romance shows, but this one is just really fucking good. So I'm like, all right, this is like perfect for my dad. I know he'll like it. So I told my dad, okay, hear me out. There's a show called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, and I think you would like it, despite the name. So he was like, all right, I'll try it, but only if you finally watch Battlestar Galactica. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'll finally get around to it. And I watched season 1 way back when, so I forget, I watched season 1 back in like high school or something. So I finally just got done rewatching season 1 of Battlestar Galactica, and I'm now on season 2. And I mean, there's a reason my dad likes it, right? It is a really, really good show. So I've been watching it while doing a lot of my like test runs lately and stuff like that. So yeah, enough ranting. I know I said I was gonna end it here, but yeah. I will cut to whenever I get the Find Fish journal. Hopefully I get it. I mean, if I don't get it within the next hour and a half, that would be criminal, right? But I'm going to keep fishing, and I'm going to stockpile a bunch of those boxes, and then I'll open them all at once and stuff like that, and hopefully I'll be getting it. And yeah, then I will pause my Battlestar Galactica at that point, and can watch it. Yeah. Anyways, I will catch you then. I will at least keep the footage running in case something crazy happens. I don't fucking know. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What? What is my luck right now? Dude, I should have created a new account a long time ago. Holy shit. It's worth 25K. Oh my god. Okay. What is happening? Oh my god. This is, dude, this is just weird. I'm I don't think it's legal to be this lucky. Okay, okay, I'm done. All right, so I fished up a decent amount of containers. Fingers crossed one of these has the journal. No journal. Nothing. No journal. Nothing. Nothing. Yes! Oh, thank God. Oh, that would have been so fucking awful if I didn't get it. Oh, okay, okay. There we go. Fish don't leave footprints. Fuck yes. Okay, I'm gonna open the remaining ones just because why not? I think that's actually an upgrade, right? That is actually a minor upgrade, and this is also an upgrade. Cool. Okay, yeah. And now, yeah, I can use my Hearthstone because it'll be back up. I need to use my Hearthstone to return to Stranglethorn Vale, and I need to immediately begin fishing in the surrounding area. And I'm just going to, whoa. There are dead NPCs. That's not good. You can clear all this out. Alright. Hopefully somebody isn't going around murdering everything. I think you can't kill Wriggle Bassbait anyway, so not a major concern. But yeah, now that I have Find Fish, it's enabled, so I just need to head up the coastline and get as much fishing skill as possible within the next hour. Right now, there's no way I'm going to get it to 300, ultimately. That would have required a lot of time. I'm only at 50 after about, like, 30 minutes. So, I don't know. I'll try to get it up to 100. Technically speaking, I mean, it shouldn't be the end of the world. It's, like, you still have, I think, a decent chance of catching it. It's just, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I might be shafted because I didn't get it, but, you know. It is what it is at the end of the day. There's only so much I could do with the time I had. And yeah. I mean, if I don't get it, really, honestly, I'm not too miffed about it. I had a lot of plans on how I would get this set up, and ultimately, I didn't get to fill all those plans. Let me set options, graphics. You also want to turn particle density to ultra. You can see that it makes the fishing pools really easy to spot. Yeah, I didn't get to fully get my plans done for getting this character set up. This was like a thrown together last second job. I mean, if I managed to win the fishing tournament despite only having like 100 classic fishing skill and like no fishing gear whatsoever, and I'm not High Mountain Taran, like if I still managed to pull it off, I would say more than anything, that's a testament to how powerful the Chromie time trick is. So we'll see. I mean, admittedly, the Chromie time trick is a thing that gives you an edge over other players. It is the kind of thing where when all else is the same, right? Being in Chromie time puts you at a massive advantage compared to every other player, which is why it is effectively guaranteed. If you did all the prep work that I did, you have a huge leg up that nobody else is able to get unless they also know about the trick. High Mountain Taran, same thing. It's a not as big of an advantage, but it is a pretty significant advantage that is something that no other race in the game can do. So, in the case where everybody already has all the fishing equipment and all the other shit set up, and they're in whatchamacallit, they're in Chromie time, they got all that done. Then technically speaking, the High Mountain Tauren is likely to win, because they have that little bit of an extra advantage. That said, there are, of course, 50 spots, right? Now, on a normal day, I'd say I still have a fairly good chance, right? Because on a normal day, well, I wouldn't have to worry about competing with all of the people who just watched my video. But as it stands, what's my video sitting at? Alright, it has tapered off a little bit. It had a huge spike this morning. I think because the European Stranglethorn Fishing Extravaganza is actually a little bit earlier, which is something I wasn't aware of, but a few people have told me that. I looked it up, and I found no sources with a special European time, so unfortunate, I guess, but, you know, I can only test it on North America, right? But it is going up now. I would expect close to the tournament, it'll spike up a little bit higher. That makes logical sense. And, yeah, at the moment it has 6,000 views. So, effectively, I'm competing against a little over 6,000 players. Let's assume half of those are from Europe, then a little over 3,000 players. So, you know, should be interesting. I don't know. I feel like if there's a significant amount of people using the Chromie time trick, there's only so much I can do. And especially with war mode on, I'll have to look ahead of time. It's interesting, I suppose. Alright. But anyway, I mean, at this point, all I can do is try to get to 100 fishing skill before the tournament starts, and, yeah, I guess let's hope I manage to pull that off. Alright, so I got to 100 fishing skill. Honestly, I mean, at this point, it's just a number, right? The difference between 100 and 300, or 100 and... I don't know. Like, fishing pools are guaranteed, and to be completely honest, I have read comments saying that there is a correlation between fishing skill and the chance that you get tasty fish. I have no way of testing it. I mean, I guess I do have a way of testing it. I wait multiple weeks for a 3-hour period, maybe 2-hour period, to test the drop rate on multiple different levels. Obviously, that's something that is practically impossible to do. So, it's something that I haven't done, right? That much should be given. And, while I do believe that it is true, I mean, I've been getting consistent drops. The only thing I'm not sure is, like, how it really affects it. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I do not know. I don't know if I've, like, screwed myself, what the deal here is. All I know is this is what I've got, and this is what I've got to run with. So, this is what we're going to use, right? That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Okay, so, let me minimize Battlestar Galactica. And, I'm nervous, right? I mean, I've spent most of today preparing for this, and this is after having to write the whole guide and all that stuff. It's been a lot of effort getting all this stuff done. So I'm going to see. I still have my regular World of Warcraft account on VNet, so I can log in here. And then the thing I'm not sure about is I don't think I'll be able to phase... Will I be able to phase... Yeah, no, I can phase into Chromie time from Booty Bay. I should be able to do that. Because... Here, and I also should disable my in-game sound on my other account. Because... Oh, what is this memory leak shit? Now the buttons are starting to... Oh, boy. Looks like the audio's still fine, though. So, you know, that's relief. It's always annoying when the audio just gives out and goes kaput. Okay, here. I'm going to, on my second account, graphics, I'm going to turn the view distance all the way down. Apply. I'm then going to go over here to audio. I'm going to disable all sounds. And then I need to zoom all the way in and basically face plant a wall to minimize the amount of, I don't know, space that it takes up. Alright, so I'm going to throw myself an invite. So Raccoon. Oh, that's me. I need to invite Guargon. Guargon is my other account. There we go. Guargon. Oh, I'm running into a cliff. Raccoon invites you to a group. Accept. Alright. Oh. That's my ALEXA beeping. I don't want it to wake up. It's been weird lately. The other day I was just talking about something randomly and it was like, playing apple bottom jeans, and I have no fucking idea why it did that. It was the weirdest shit I've ever heard. I mean, it's a good song. I was not trying to get it to play that song. I was muttering something to myself, because a lot of times when I write my scripts, I'll write a sentence and then I'll read the sentence out loud, because obviously when I'm recording, I want to make sure that it sounds natural. So sometimes I'll type something and I'm like, that actually doesn't translate well into spoken word. Okay, so I've loaded this in. I only have 5 minutes, so I actually need to be quick about this. I can't dilly-dally. Let me close my website just to save some space. Close Steam for now, just to save a bit more space. Alright, we're still doing good on the audio. So now Raccoon needs to initiate party sync. Start party sync. Accept. My level is now restricted to 60, and Chromie time is now enabled. So theoretically, I still have my Hearthstone set to Booty Bay. I came to Cape of Stranglethorn because I want to load in as much of this as possible before heading back up, because if it's recently loaded in, the idea is that when I use my Hearthstone, it should allow me to very quickly teleport. Options, graphics, draw distance is 6. Yeah, it's fine. It shouldn't take too long to load. I still want to make sure it's decently high enough so that I can detect pools without too much hassle. I still have find fish enabled. There's no fishing pools in this area. There should be. So hopefully it's working properly. Alright, I'm in Northern Stranglethorn. Whew. Alright. Still haven't found any pools. That is mildly concerning. Come on. Where are the fishing pools? Okay. Thought something weird was going on. Alright, moment of truth. We're gonna do a flyby of Lake Nasfaridi. And we're gonna see if anybody's here. So I'm seeing all pools. Doesn't look like there's anybody here. Yeah. I mean, all the pools would be up, right? Because nobody would be pre-fishing. You want to fish like a minute early. I don't see any other players. I don't see anybody like high in the air. Nobody's doing a flyover. There's a rare crocodile. It looks like all the pools are up. I didn't see anybody on the river. Really? Is there nobody? I mean, theoretically, there would be different shards of Chromie time, and I, technically speaking, never specified in my guide to turn on War mode. Might have actually been an oversight. I probably should have said that. But like, the thing about War mode specifically for this is that there are some direct downsides to it. So it's not like it is a direct advantage. Because War mode is... Like, War mode when leveling is a different story. War mode when leveling is... The benefits are colossal. It is a massive benefit to have War mode enabled, so there's, like, literally no reason to not do it. What I should do is shortly before the fishing tournament begins, first off, I need to use the oversized bobber. When I just get that, that's a 60-minute. When this hits 58, What I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this crocodile, then I'm going to head back to that first pool, and I'm going to kill the other 2 crocodiles. I'm actually going to kill all 3 crocodiles here. The moment this hits 58, because the idea is I want them to not have respawned. 58, they might still have respawned, but more important thing is that I kill those first few crocodiles. I need to get those out of the way. Okay, 58. All right. River croc over here. Just want to clear these out. It looks like there's no competition. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm surprised. I expected to see people. What is that? Hoist a strike. Oh, that's my my trinket from the Gorgron quests. Right. Right, those crocodiles are down. So we're going to fly up north. We are going to take out the Sharptooth Frenzies are not a huge concern. I will still take these guys out. Can't hurt. And then I should be safe in the shoreline as long as this young Stranglethorn Tiger is dead. Alright. And I should be killing this, yep, right at 59. Okay. Now, tournament's about to begin, so I can chug Elixir of Water Walking, and chug multiple of these to get the duration up to 15 minutes. And now we start casting. And in theory, it should let me stand on the water. There we go. Fuck off. The Elixir of Water Walking really bugs out sometimes. And sometimes it does not work. Okay. Now we wait. The moment that the announcement goes off, you're eligible to cast Tasty Fish. So you want to continue the cast before the announcement. This one will never last. Just keep refreshing the cast. You want the bobber sitting in the pool the moment it hits 5 o'clock. So that wouldn't be valid because the announcement hasn't gone off. So we're going to keep going. Waiting. Invalid. That frenzy won't be able to aggro onto me. There's no way. I'm safe here. I think. Pretty sure I'm safe. Alright, it's 5 o'clock. Any second now. That's invalid? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's within the pool. Any second now. Within the pool. Come on. Any second. It's 5:01 on the in-game clock. My clock only just hit 5 o'clock. I'm EST, so for me it starts at 5. It should be any second. Hasn't popped up for my druid. Come on. There we go. Okay. Alright. Probably won't be talking a lot because I am kind of nervous. I want to make sure this gets done right. I don't know what my odds are, but a little bit disheartening that my first cast was not a tasty fish. That is not a good sign of things to come. Okay, well there's one. That's definitely in the pool. Alright. Okay, good. Very good. So, 2 so far, honestly pretty good. I would say if I get like at least 2 more from this pool, I think that would confirm, yeah. Odds are actually very marginally affected by fishing skill. I wonder what the total amount would be. But No, yeah. I'm either getting absurdly lucky or fishing skill doesn't play nearly as much of a factor as I initially thought. But technically, it wasn't me who thought it. It was Wowhead Commons who suggested that. Like, once again, I have no way of testing that myself. I only have my own personal experiences. And I mean, all the characters that I've tried this on have been maxed fishing skill. So, I mean, I have no way of knowing exactly what the variance is. Because for me, every single time I've done this competition, it has felt similar. I haven't noticed a difference. Okay, that's the pool down. We keep moving. Okay, that's in the pool. Go. Nice. Man, I spent all that time getting my fishing skill up for fucking nothing. Ah, that's an hour of my life I'm not gonna get back. Oh well. Find fish was absolutely necessary though, so at least those 30 minutes in the wetlands where I was obtaining find fish, that was absolutely mandatory. Um, yeah, it's these are solid odds. Okay, it's another one just spawned over there. Nice. That's in the pool. I don't want to dilly-dally around here, especially because if people have just landed at the lake and are now cleaning it, I want to know ahead of time so I can move to a new location. Hopefully, the lake is empty. This is why I usually like to start out on the rivers, because the lake is the hotspot. A lot of people like to start off on the lake. And back in the day, when I did these back in WoD is when I won most of my fishing tournaments. I always started at the lake. And I lost like 2 of them doing that because other people would start at the lake. And then my last few, I started off in the rivers. And then I would get 0 competition in the rivers. I would enter Lake Nasfaridi as, well, either was empty. Oh, my phone just pinged, sorry. Yeah, either it would be empty, which, like, yeah, sometimes it just is. Or I would enter it as people are almost done picking it dry. I would clean up the last few pools, and then I would move on. But at least in that case, I would get the river all to myself. So better to get, like, a little bit. Once again, like I said in the guide, better to have some fishing pools completely uncontested than fight over a desirable spot. Because in many of those cases, there were, like, 2 people fighting over Lake Nasfaridi while I had full reign of the river. Hmm. I'm getting, like, average RNG right now. Hmm. It's actually below average. That's a handful of casts in a row with no good luck. I'm actually not on track to win this. Um, yeah, the High Mountain Tarn thing is interesting, because getting, like, one big proc is really helpful. But I don't know. If I can start getting a bit more consistency with my catches, oh, maybe fishing skill does matter. Now I'm starting to get pretty fucking unlucky. Ooh. Ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. Ah. Yeah. That's the pool over. I should have just... Okay, that's in. No competition so far, though. We're only like 1/3 of the way through. It's only on the 5-minute mark. Technically, I'm around the 1/3 mark in terms of fish caught, though I have hit a pretty bad luck streak. A really bad luck streak. Or this is just fishing skill rearing its ugly head. Ooh. Ooh. No. But I'm on pace to get, like, the average time, which is 15 minutes. 15 minutes is like considered to be the bare minimum that you can do to win. It used to be that like 11 minutes was insanely good. I saw a YouTube comment saying they saw a winner in 8 minutes, which I don't think is outside of the realm of possibility. There's also like weird things you could do where like if you have somebody Warlock summon you, Warlock summoning does save a bit of time. Come on. Fucking Elixir of Water Walking, dude. There we go. That's in. But yeah, Warlock summoning, if you're able to do that, I didn't mention it in the guide because it's kind of dumb to say in a guide, like, get friends to summon you, especially when you can just set your Hearthstone. This Crocodile is getting nasty. Like, what? Fuck off. It's really close. I should be in a sweet spot here. It's getting dangerously close. I did not know it could patrol this close. But yeah, Warlock summons are nice because it eliminates the Hearthstone cast, which is, you know, a handful of seconds. That does matter. Okay. I can get this one with 0 competition. And then the other one would require me to fight those crocodiles. Am I willing to fight the crocodiles? Since there's no competition, I don't think I am. I think I would be better off ignoring the crocodiles. I have now fallen behind. I'm below average. I'm now exactly halfway at the 8-minute mark. Come on. Here we go. Another fishing pool spawned right under that crocodile. Fuck. Not good. Yeah, I will say my cast RNG is definitely worse compared to my last run. So I think fishing skill does play a factor. It clearly isn't like insane because I'm still getting a decent amount of tasty fish. It's not like I'm not getting 1/3 the number of tasty fish because if I'm at 100 skill and it was like a 1-to-1 correlation, then I should in theory be getting 1/3 the number of tasty fish, but that is clearly not the case. I don't think the crocodile can reach me from there. It's a gamble. Not willing to take it, actually. This is safe. What the hell? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, the game is actually shafting me right now. What is going on? Why is it just randomly dunking me into the water? This is why I hate Elixir of Water Walking. Sometimes it just bugs the fuck out, and it is the most annoying thing in the planet. It's inconsistent, so it doesn't always happen. There's another player. Shit, and it's an alliance. Shit, I have to go upriver. If that alliance lands at that pool, I go further upstream. It's really all I can do at this point. I hope they stay in Lake Nasferidi. Well, it's good to know I'm not crazy, and there are people clearly using the technique. Because there's no way that's just a coincidence. That person is absolutely using my Chromie time technique. Because I did not run into a single soul the last time. I'm going to head further upstream. I want to put distance between myself and that alliance player. Yeah, I figured the pools would have respawned by now. Okay. As long as they don't head all the way up here, I should be fine. That being said... Scary. It's fucking scary. Okay. 30 out of 40. On my clock, it's 5:12. This is the average time when people would be finishing. I took 2 additional minutes past this time to finish on my last run. And I still had about 5 minutes to spare over other players. There's one more pool here. This is a tricky spot. I can't go any further upstream. This is the farthest it goes. Come on. There we go. That's in the pool. I think my best bet is to just go back downstream and hope that a new pool respawned. Nice. Decent RNG here. 5 more. I'm honestly not doing terrible. I'm only slightly behind my Death Knight. My Death Knight had literally best in slot fishing gear. So, bare minimum, we can say that the impact is marginal at best for fishing skill. Come on. Come on, pool respawn. There's a pool. That's in. Far away. Okay. Breathe. Deep breaths in. Oh, come on. These are some long cast times. That's another thing that, like, you don't... I kind of dislike about the fishing tournament. It is what it is. But the variance, unlike bobber cast times, can be massive over the course of the 50 to 60 casts it takes to get all 40 fish. It can be serious how much variance there is there. If you get like a bunch of instant casts, that's super good. Sometimes it goes all the way to the end, and there's nothing you can do about that. Like this one. Oh no. Come on. Oh no. It's a really late one. Okay, 39 out of 40. Prep the Hearthstone. Let's hope I don't get ganked at the last second. I'm gonna bubble the moment I teleport to Booty Bay. Fuck! Are you serious? Oh, that's so unlucky. Oh, that's so unlucky. It is so unlucky. That is literally like a fucking 30-second difference catching that versus not catching that. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm about 2 minutes behind my previous time. Which is sketchy. Not impossible, but sketchy when you consider that everybody's using the crummy time trick at this point. But the world quest is still active, so... Okay, get ready to bubble the moment I land. Still active. Dread Pirate Ring. Let's go! Woo! Oh, bitch! Oh my god. That one was a nail biter. Alright. my fresh account has a Dread Pirate ring. Let's go! Woo! Oh, that was fun. That was a fun challenge. I thought, why not? Like, yes! I barely made it! Oh. That was like literally less than a minute. Oh my god. I snuck in right beneath the fucking door. Oh, yes! Oh! Oh! If you're watching this and you barely missed the fishing tournament win, I'm very sorry. I know you must think I'm a complete asshole for winning it, again, despite the fact that I'm the one who made the guide, but look, sometimes you need to sacrifice in the name of science. And, this was the ultimate sacrifice in the name of science. This is like, whew. This has just been the absolute most fucking wild afternoon I have had in a long time. Oh, man. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was one hell of a fucking video to record. And, obviously, this wasn't initially going to be the first installment in the fresh account leveling video. This was initially, I was initially going to start just with the 1 to 60 run. So a 1 to 60 run is coming. And I will be doing it on this account. I will be making sure I don't hit 60 with any of my characters until I'm done with all my testing so that I can test it accurately without Chromie time enabled. And, yeah. Let me know in the comments if you are interested in seeing more of the Fresh Account series. And I guess main thing is, do you want to see an Alliance or Horde 1 to 60 run first? Obviously, we've already seen part of a Horde run at this point, but who knows? I mean, the way that you do 45 to 60, or honestly 40 to 60, is the real kicker. And that can have some large variance maybe between Alliance and Horde. We'll see. But yeah, anyways, I'll end myself here. That sounded bad. End myself. Whew. I'll stop talking here before I keep saying dumb shit. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.